Hey, my loves, it's Ra, socially known as Luminous Ra. If you noticed that I was missing Sunday, I had to take time off. We had a holiday without the kids. I got to rest and rejuvenate. I felt like I needed that. I didn't feel stagnant energy in my vibration. So I just went with the flow and I was like, okay, we'll just reconvene next Sunday. Even though I have a feeling that I might post this video December 1st, but if you don't see it on December 1st, then 9 times out of 10, it's going to be posted on Sunday. Honestly, I can't beat myself up for that because once you start, sometimes you stumble. It's all about learning. Learn that it's okay to get back up. It's okay to reconvene. It's okay to start again. It's okay. I'm not going to stress myself out, which definitely goes into the purpose or the topic of the video, starting before the new year. So we got about 30 days before January 1st hits. I know. If you all watch my previous videos on femininity and just get started, you know that I started my process back around Halloween or so. Looking back on when I started and looking at things now and going through the process of understanding what people were telling me, I definitely feel like a lot of people are in the energy or in the mode to go ahead and get started on whatever it is that they've been slacking on or procrastinating. I've been hearing on TikTok next year, 2024, is going to be a year 8 year. Anytime I see 8, I think money, I think abundance, I think 8 is the number. So for next year to be year 8, the momentum is going to be momentuming. Year 8, a God year, a lucky year. I've been getting a lot of information on social media and just kind of getting that spark within myself, even that confirms that next year is a special year. Now, whether you are able to receive what you sowed and you're able to see the fruits of your labor or not, that I'm not going to be able to answer that. At the same time, could you help project yourself forward? Absolutely. Is this year a good year to get started, to continue, to finish? Absolutely. So it's important that we know that all areas of our life are all connected. So it's best to start getting organized now and start taking this stuff seriously right now. A lot of times, change is not a big thing that I'm excited about, but there are times when I'm excited about change. And there are things that come with change that we often don't talk about, and it kind of flies under the radar. For instance, we get excited about a new house, a new car, a new hairstyle, a new job, a new partner, and we don't really pay attention to the maintenance work behind all of those things. So let's just think about it. Before you move into a new apartment or a new house, you have to search for the house. You have to make sure that you have the finances for it. Then you have to clean, declutter, pack. Once you move in, you have to unpack. You have to get yourself together. So with blessing, there comes responsibility and maintenance. Same thing with a hairstyle. You research, you try to find what hairstyle looks best on you. Once you get your new hairstyle, you have to maintain it and keep it up. If you go blonde, there's blonde shampoo. A car, you have to do the research. Your credit has to be in place. You got to have the down payment. Once you get the car, you have to keep up the tune-ups. Relationships, you have to make sure that you're right within first. Once you find your person, and you have to keep your boundaries. You have to make sure that you keep doing what you need to do in order to pour into yourself. All of these things take maintenance. All of these things take work. So even though I'm happy with change, I think those of us that are willing to jump out and change and really amped up in the beginning, and we have a lot of momentum in the beginning of starting, and then when the work comes in, it's kind of like, okay, wait a minute. I thought I was just going to start and I was going to get a reward. I think where we can improve is the consistency and the maintenance. And since I'm a pro at starting, I know I have to work on consistency. It's been a pretty interesting challenge I've been dealing with throughout my life. So I feel like I'm pretty well versed in that area. Now, because I've been in that situation so many different times, over time, I realized it hurt me more not to show up for myself, or when I'm the one that's in my way and I'm the one that's holding me back. That's been one of the most gut wrenching things to experience, to have all of the answers and my feet aren't moving, or I'm not moving in a direction, or I'm just stuck and stagnant. So I have to dig deeper and figure out, why exactly am I doing this? Why am I going in this direction? And I realized in that investigation of myself and asking these questions, I don't like when I do the work and I'm not seeing results. or I'm seeing very little results. The amount of work and effort I'm putting into something is not matching the level of results that I'm getting, if I'm even getting any, or even worse, backsliding results. So I'm now going into the negative and I'm not even able to sustain where I am currently. So then I freeze and I don't try to put a whole bunch of effort into something, or I don't focus toward the thing that intuitively I feel like I should be focusing on. I feel like, you know what, maybe if I just do all of this other work and get all of these things out of the way and clear the path for the thing that I think I'm supposed to be doing, I don't have to actually focus on the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. So if I bet 100% on a thing that I think is going to make me win and then I lose, I'm going to be completely lost. And sometimes I think that the anxiety of trying to pick myself up from that area is so heavy and deep, but that's actually not true. And there's a part of me that knows that that reality isn't true. I know that if something doesn't work out, you were just supposed to go in that direction to get the next step. But even though I know logically it doesn't make sense, it's the past beliefs and habits that are making me feel like I'm not worth what I want. I'm not worth what I'm setting my goal to. And when I feel that, my ego automatically swoops in and it tries to save me. But then my higher self is like, let's just pass through the fear. Let's pass through the anxiety. Let's pass through the hurt that I'm causing myself, because it's going to give you more answers. And you don't know that because you never tried. And because we don't know what's on the other side of things, it generates self-doubt, therefore causing stagnation or spotty attendance to show up for your dreams and the things that you feel like you truly do deserve. So knowing this about myself, I came up with a plan for my New Year's resolution a long time ago, a few years back. And it was basically to start my New Year's resolution before New Year's. And it would be typically around Halloween. That's when nature is appearing to die off and everything is coming to a close. When I first started, that's not exactly where I started. So if you're just finding this video and you feel like you're too late, you're not too late. You definitely still have a lot of time on your hands. Because when I originally started this plan, I started a month before New Year's. I started in December. And then I was like, you know what, let me push it back and push it back until it feels right. And I ended up doing it right around October. Now, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but the most important thing that you can do for yourself is to pay attention to your thoughts. Attentiveness of your thoughts is extremely important. If you decide that they're not cohesive to where you're trying to be or the plan you're trying to set into place, they're going against your plan, we have to replace those with positive thoughts. Now, I'm not saying to lie to yourself. If you're anything like me, that's not going to work. What I did was, when I started to notice that intrusive thoughts were starting to flood in, I would pay attention to them and then I would immediately replace it with something very rational. So if I had a thought of, oh, I can't afford that, immediately I would replace it with something more rational. So I would often do the research and I would realize that, oh, all I need to do is make X to obtain the thing that I want. That's doable. Another one is, there aren't any good partners out there. I've seen that thinking and that mindset and heard those words all over the place. And that is not everybody's experience. And it's not everybody's experience for a reason. If we look at 2022, every single person that you ask will tell you that they had a different experience. I personally had a great year that year. That was a great time for me to sit down within myself, get to know me, start doing all of the things that I've always wanted to do. It was a good time, but that wasn't everybody else's reality. So I'm not going to force myself to believe that we all share one reality. And in order to replace this, and you might get triggered, trigger warning. I was triggered when I was true and authentic with myself about this particular thought. So we're going to replace that thought with, I feel inadequate when I think about the partner that I truly want. Insecurity seeps in and I act like a real partner or a good partner really doesn't exist. I'm unwilling to change ways about myself that self-sabotage the things that I want. Knowing that and starting this new cycle and knowing that it was a rocky start for me, I was forced to remember how I got myself together the first time when I created something out of nothing on TikTok. I became a solid manifester. I learned self-love. I always say this, but I stumbled across my femininity, which prepared me for the partner that I'm currently engaged to. Because I was scrambling to figure out exactly what I did the first time and get myself back on track, I decided to write it down for myself so I wouldn't have to remember and try to recant exactly what was going on and recant the lessons that I learned going through that evolutional change. So now, the second that I feel off, I have something that I can go back to and look at immediately to get myself back on track. As I was writing these steps down, I felt like it was selfish for me to keep it to myself. And I know that when I go live, I mention things. So I was just like, you know what? Let me make this a little bit more polished. Let me go into deeper detail. Let me think about the areas that people are coming from and just make a guide. Now, this guide is for those that are serious. It's definitely going to change your mindset. It's going to change your perspective. It's going to change who you are. If you're not comfortable with that, if you're not serious about that, if you're not willing to put in the work for that, don't even bother going to look at the guide. If you are, the guide is going to be down in the description section and on all of my social media platforms. As I cover this topic of beginning your change 30 days before your new year, I'm going to touch on all of the highlights to get you set up and successful for a new year to come. Hopefully, this resets your whole entire life like it did for mine. This guide was created in mind to not only shift you now, but shift you for the years to come. If you need to go back to it, it's there for you. It's also a quick reminder of how to get back on point if you do feel yourself falling off. It's time to get serious, honey. And in this guide, we're going to be digging in deep. So get ready. Let's go over some of the key points. The beautiful thing about this is if you are at your wit's end with how life is going for you, this is going to be perfect for you, especially if you're serious. Once you figure out the flow of life, everything else will fall into place and come in and make it feel like magic. Now, a huge misconception about the new year is it being January 1st. Personally, anything that I do in January or February feels so last year. My fiance and I often take trips in February for our birthday. Every single time he brings up those trips, I literally forget that we are in the same year that we took those trips. So if I'm saying that the new year doesn't start January 1st, when does it start, Ra? What is your conspiracy theory? It starts in the spring. That's when the earth is resurfacing with its new beginning. When everything was appearing to be dead, it's working overtime to resurface in its new beginning in the spring. All of the plants, all of the trees are working hard to prepare to bloom again. So it only makes sense to align with Mother Earth and position ourselves to have a beautiful bloom as well. Now, mental health is the very first topic that we are going to address in this guide. For myself, my mental health is the beginning of every single thing that happens in my life. As we observe our mind and our mindset, we realize we do things subconsciously that dominoes into a butterfly effect. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the thing that is going to save us in this area is observing. We have to observe our thoughts. Before you can change anything, before you go in anywhere in a person's body, in a car, and anything electric, you have to first observe what is going wrong or what is not lining up with the desired objective. So here, there are going to be prompts and questions that are going to be asking things like, are you focusing on other people's failures? Are you focusing on other people's successes? Do you give yourself too many excuses? Would you say that you're typically a victim in a lot of situations? No judgment. Just asking. Nobody else is going to see this but you. What are you thinking about when you're doing mundane tasks or you're on autopilot? These are all here and now questions. Now, I'm not a big fan of reflecting because I don't want to send our manifestation engine in the opposite direction to the past. That's not where I want you to focus. At the same time, there is a small part where you're going to have to reflect on how you operate in the past, and that is finances. Full transparency, for the most part, I am really good with money. If you're into astrology, my Jupiter is in the second house, so your girl is abundant and fun. I can also overspend if I want to as well. I just know how to get myself out of a jam if I need to. And over the years, I've learned how to shop smart and buy things that are going to last over years. And instead of getting pieces that are only for the times, I try to get pieces that are going to go through and transcend throughout time. So yes, baby, I will definitely find a good deal. And I made sure to put some of that in the guide for you as well, because I love clothes. I love shopping. So I plugged you guys with some of the best quality clothes that I found thus far at a fraction of the cost. And that will be extremely helpful when you get to the part that's talking about revamping your wardrobe, which I am currently in the middle of doing. So where I really needed to focus my attention was was multiplying and how I wanted to gain more financial abundance. And in order to do that, I had to look at my mindset around money, how I felt about money, how comfortable I was with money, my relationship with money in order to change. And that really changed a lot for me. So that's the part where we'll reflect the most. Other than that, I want us to be extremely conscious of the now. So a quick test on how much you're in the now. Even at this moment in a video, are you in the now or are you in your head thinking about some of the things that I just listed? This video will always be here for you to rewind if you need it. But as of right now, we're listening and taking in what I'm saying in the moment. The next part can be action, where you write things down if anything sparks from the questions that I ask, or you can take a mental note when you rewatch the video. Speaking of watching or rewatching, this guide goes through the different areas of influences that you may have and how to declutter them if you feel like they're not on the path that you're trying to align to. This has been a game changer for me. This has motivated me. And in the midst of all of that, I was able to get myself back on track and stay consistent. Even if I feel myself slacking a little bit, I just pop on one of the things that I know is going to get me right and I'm good. I go through how to reprogram yourself by finding the right music or getting your TikTok algorithm together, your Instagram feed together, the right YouTube channels, and new places to go. The next section in the guide is physical health. Now, this may seem like a vanity metric, but it's something that has truly changed my life. Skin is definitely more than a vanity metric. It's actually a very large organ. That being as it may, is a very good indicator on the health of some of your internal organs. Keeping it healthy with vegetables like celery, lemon, drinking water, cucumber, certain mask products and treatments. It's important to know these things. I go through my process on how I heal my acne scars and my acne and how I keep them away. I was really good at that point because I know exactly how I bring them back. So I know the things to avoid in order to keep those things away. Teeth, they're very attractive when you keep them clean and white. I go through that in the guide and how I go about what products I use and how I go about whitening my teeth. Now, hair, there's nothing like a full head of healthy, shiny, vibrant hair. I am natural. I don't know if you all can tell. You probably can't because my hair is braided currently. I am 4C. Even though it doesn't seem like it, my curl pattern is very tight, very buoyancy. It repels water. It took me a long time to figure out exactly how to take care of my hair. And I went through a lot of trial and error. You name it, I've done it. Felt like it was really important for me to get back to the basics of getting my curl pattern together, getting the health together, and getting the moisture in my hair together. All of these things take time, but the good thing is we're in winter, so perfect time to do it. Of course, we can't forget the body and how to keep that right and tight. I definitely dropped some knowledge on how I keep my body cleansed, how I keep it tight, how I keep my muscles up, how I get somewhat of an hourglass silhouette. Now, I can only do so much. Your girl is lacking hips. I do not have baby bearing hips. I was just telling my fiance that earlier today, like they're non-existent. But for the most part, there's certain yoga practices that I do in order to keep my figure nice and lean and get that silhouette that you may be trying to go after. Not only will you feel good about yourself, you'll also receive positive remarks from people known and unknown. The glow will be magnetic. Now, one part about this whole topic of physicality and keeping up your appearance, it saddens me when people don't care about how they look because at the end of the day, deep down, I know why they don't care. I know that a lot of people in society have made us feel insecure about how we feel and how we show up, resulting in us feeling like we're not good enough or we're not attractive. And I'm here to say, who the hell are they and why should we care? When we're doing these things, we need to keep in mind that this is for us. This is not for anyone else. This is for us to feel good about ourselves, not in the light of somebody else's gaze. I mentioned in my last video, the only people that talk about you or try to keep you from your sole purpose are the people that haven't found their own. Only a miserable person will intentionally try to make you feel bad about how you look. Now, on the other hand, there are some other people, they might genuinely want to see you do better and be better. And they might be pointing certain things out because they see the path that you can't see. And they also see how that's taken a toll on you. I understand, still annoying. Trust me, I dealt with it for years. Same time, the best thing that we can do, what I've learned to do, is take what I need from that conversation and dump the rest. There's a clip that I came across from the show The Real. Lonnie Love was talking about her experience when she got the opportunity to be on a comedy tour. So she hopped on a call. She happened to dial in early because she wanted to be prompt and ready and show that she was ready for this opportunity. By her own surprise, she heard some of the other female comedians talking crap about her And she said it hurt her so bad, but she never mentioned it to them. And while they were talking, as she got angry, she realized to keep herself calm and she took notes on what they said and then she implemented them. And now she's thriving in her career long term and they're pretty scarce in the industry. The truth hurts when you're not planning on doing anything to change it. Keep that in mind. The next part is cleanliness is next to godliness. I had to touch on this in the guide. Not only is cleanliness something to be a reflection of your soul or a relationship that you have with God or source or whatever you call that energy, it also boosts your mental health. I know sometimes we don't want to clean. When you think about cleaning, it's not a good feeling. When you get up and just start, it's a great feeling when you finish. So if you stress about it, trust me, I understand. I've been there. I talk myself through it. I get up, I do what I need to do and get it out the way. So I go through how to keep things clean and how you can build momentum in cleaning, how I meditate during cleaning, and why it's so important and how you can quickly and efficiently get it done. I have struggled to keep the house clean by my standards, especially when my schedule in my life was all over the place. Nothing was in order. I was jumping up, getting ready to go to work and rushing out the door, leaving the house a mess and coming back to a mess. It was horrible. And something in me remembered when I used to live with my mom, my stepfather at the time was telling her that I needed to make my bed up every single morning. And I was like, oh my goodness, I close my door every single day. I don't know why he cares. Ever since that stuck with me. If the bed is not made up in the morning, I just can't function for real. I enjoy leaving the room, coming back, and it's in order. Now, the thing is, if the house is cluttered or messy, it's hard for me to find things to have a smooth day. It's hard for me to find my keys, especially if I'm already running late. There have been times where I spent more time looking for a comb or a brush than I did actually doing my hair. That's ridiculous. Now that I've moved, the obstacle is dealing with 3 males in the house and them having their own ways and me being very particular about the plan that I've developed and all of the things that I share in this guide and getting them on board to follow suit. So I do my best to be as polite and genuine as I can when I'm asking for help. And thank God they actually help me. There's not a lot of pushback. They're helping and they understand why I need them to help me clean, why it's important to me. We also implemented some things for the boys to do around the house as well. So that will also be in a guide for those of us that are parents and we have kids and we're trying to get them to understand why they need to clean and help out around the house. So I found that when I have a good schedule and I keep things going and they're good and everything is clean, I have more time to work, I have more time to chill, I have more time to play. I love how I positioned the spiritual health aspect in this guide as well. I think it flows in perfectly after cleanliness, not just because cleanliness is next to godliness. There's a certain aspect of spirituality that brings so much positivity into your life. And when I say spirituality, if you have a religion, I'm talking about that. If you have a practice, I'm talking about that. Whatever it is that gets you closer to the divine, closer to God, closer to whatever that energy is called in your reality, and you become one with that energy to the point that if anything negative happens to you, you're able to see the brighter side of things. You're able to understand that it's something that's necessary. You may not understand why it happened, but you get that it happened. It's part of life and you can move forward. Understanding that when things happen, you don't have to always negatively react to it is very important because just like I said with cleaning, a lot of people don't like to clean. But if you don't see cleaning as a chore, if you see cleaning as an activity that results in the betterment of your mental state, that's a whole different position. And I'm getting chills, soul confirmation. And it's easier to push through those things. You actually won't even feel like you're pushing through those things. You'll just do it because it feels right. So my vibes have risen so much when I got back into prayer, when I get back into meditation, or whatever it is that I do to help myself reset and get clear and become one with my body, my mind, and my spirit. So I gotten back to praying some of the prayers that I pray from the book of Psalms, and it's Psalm 4 and 5. And when I tell you things have been lining up in my favor, when I tell you I've been protected, when I tell you that whoever is sending bad juju is coming back to them tenfold, I don't even have to set the intention. I don't have to say, oh, return to sender times 10. I don't have to do none of that. I don't even know that these people are doing or saying negative things. I'm just singing the karma. And you know, God will always position the table in front of you to show you that your karma is coming back. You don't ever have to look for the karma. Don't ever look for the karma. Don't look for somebody else's else's downfall. You will know. It will come to you out of nowhere. Even recently when I was praying the Psalms, last night my left hand started to itch and I was like mindlessly scratching, and then I snapped into it and I was like, oh my goodness, money is coming in. Last time I scratched my hands, money came in. My son was like, really? It's like, yeah. So in this guide, things like the Psalms that I pray, how I pray it, and the method is very specific. It's very powerful. How I meditate, what I do when I meditate, the different meditations that I do, all of those techniques are in there. So getting in a better mental space, making sure that your domain is clean. You know, your house is representative of your energetic body. So getting that stuff in order and making sure that you're on point with all of those things is going to get you right. And you can expect to wake up in gratitude. Just waking up is more than enough to the point that you're happy just because you opened your eyes. It will shift your whole entire vibration. Now, it's important that I saved manifestation for the last piece because that's exactly how I have it in the guide. I feel like there's some things that I want to add. So this may be the piece that actually takes up the majority of the guide, which is good for you guys. But I definitely strategically put it after the first 4 because you have to learn how to do your housekeeping first. You have to learn how to become disciplined and how to have discernment before you begin manifestation. You can be the most powerful manifestor you want to be, but it means nothing if you don't have the pillars that you need in order to keep or sustain and grow that manifestation or blessings, if that's what you want to call it. We have all heard the tips and tricks to manifesting, and that has never clicked for me until I came across different media outlets and books that have helped me instantly manifest my desires. This is a section of the guide where we dream big. It's so funny because when I did my notes for this video, I was like, you got to dream big. Think big, bitch. Like, I love that sound. I really do. So we're going to dream big and we're going to make those things a reality. This is where I ask unapologetically, without the limits that make you feel like you're not good enough. For instance, physical appearance, race, class, intellect, finances, trauma, sex, sexual orientation, lack of support, among other things. What do you want to have? And who do you want to be? This section has been sort of a struggle for me because personally, even though I know I can manifest, I've done it before, I don't ask for much or even try to manifest, which has been somewhat of a downfall. If we don't have a clear direction of where we're headed, then where are we going? That's where I start to lack. That's where I start to slack. That's where I fall off of my wagon. And saying things like, oh, I want more money, that's not enough. Versus saying, I want to be able to live comfortably in a certain particular lifestyle and have enough extra money to enjoy life the way I want to. I want to be able to do the things I love to do and take care of my responsibilities. The discipline will come in when you get a nudge to go in a certain direction, even though it doesn't look like the direction that you're headed in. This is where you have to learn how to let go and let God. There's things that you can plan and then you let God do the rest. So if you're a control freak, guilty, this is for you. It's important to know that you have to start relaxing, doing things like unclenching your jaw, fixing your posture. Even throughout this video, I've been relaxing my shoulders, unclenching the cheeks. We have to start learning how to relax. And this area of the guide is going to be where discernment is. In order to properly follow your discernment, you have to be strong in the housekeeping mentioned before. Think about it. There's a saying that just keeps popping in my head. If you keep putting something extraordinary on hold, watch it disappear. When I wait to do something extraordinary and I put it on hold, typically it never happens. By the time I remember to do it, the end is already near, the year is almost completely wrapped up, and I'm back in the cycle of feeling in a rut and not feeling good enough and feeling the lack. I will admit to you, this level of work and the level of ease is determined by how bad you want it. You won't even feel the pain. You won't be looking for the gain because you're so busy trying to reach whatever it is you're setting out to be or do. I am so glad that I wrote this guide. I'm glad that I originally wrote it for myself and then decided to share with you all because it is a life changer. There are so many prompts of questions that I put in there to help you dig in deeper into yourself and your beliefs. I touch on a bit of everything from the relationships that you want to have to building the life you want to live. The thing about this that helps the most, when you begin the changes and you have the authentic answers, you will have everything you need to either keep you on track or get you right back on track. And that's why I said we really need to dig deep Why do you really truly want this? This guide will bring that out so that you have the motivation and you stay on the ball to really see your manifestations through. If you feel yourself losing your way, there are different questions in there. For instance, like, why do you have resistance in this area? And that's going to help you bring awareness to the core issue at hand. We're not tossing band-aids on top of wounds. We are getting down to the root. What is the real deal? And once you start to pull those roots up, you start to see that the roots are not in a spot that you originally thought they were in. Roots can grow anywhere. They can root themselves into other areas of your life that you had no idea they were touching. I told you this is going to be life changing. I give you props to safely step out of your comfort zone and examples on how I did it when I was doing it and tips on what I thought helped me out the most. It's also going to help you see how I was able to push past my fear, push past my ego, and go in the direction that my higher self was leading me to. Some of the outcomes, you guys have been following me for years. You've been watching me on live for years. So you actually see the transition. You see the outcome. I may not talk about it, but you see it. The proof is in the pudding. I just want to reiterate, this guide was to help me remember how I got on track and how I reclaimed my power. Also, to notice when I was overextending myself, then how to get back on track no matter what phase of life I was in, and how to reclaim my power. Some of the challenges in life that we go through will definitely throw you a little bit off your center. You won't be as balanced as you typically are. So me being in a new relationship, a serious relationship, threw me off a little bit because I'm hyper focused on, is this my person or is this another life lesson? Is this the direction I should go or isn't it? I was back and forth in my head trying not to self-sabotage the relationship, trying to make sure that I stay balanced on everything else. Meanwhile, not realizing that the relationship came into my existence to help me transition into a whole nother person. So I was fighting that and I was like, no, I need to do what I've been doing on TikTok. It was successful. Why would I change now? God has other plans and I needed to learn how to move out of the way. So I will admit, I definitely needed some reminders. I needed to remember how to pour into myself first, and then anything that trickles out after is for everybody else. I'm sure if I had another baby, I would have to revisit this guide as well, because you get thrown off of your center with that. It's a beautiful beginning, but it's another beginning. It's another human being that you're dealing with. It's a brand new you that you're dealing with. So I just love the fact that I have something that I can go back to and I don't have to try to remember when I'm already under stress or I'm already going through anxiety or I already feel like I'm overstimulated or drowning. I have something that I can go back to and I know this worked for me. And we're just going to throw it out there. God forbid this happens. Everything happens divinely at the same time. Hopefully this does not have to happen. If I experience a breakup, same thing. I'm going to have to collect myself and collect my pieces and come back to this and remember what I did to keep myself together, what I did to allow myself to grow, what I did to succeed. And even if I have a new career opportunity, that's something brand new. It will be something that I didn't see coming. I will have to find my center again. So keeping all of those things in mind when I made this guide is something that I know will be able to help all of you all, because everybody is in a different transition of life. We're all transitioning and it's a beautiful thing. It is okay. Anything that's changing, it is for the better good. It's for the better of you. Everything removing itself, everything adding itself into you, everything is there to show you who you are and who you need to be and help you understand that you have the choice of who you want to be. And if you want to be something, it's all there for you. All you got to do is just go in a direction and do that work. I would much rather do the work to get into a better situation than do the work of repeating a cycle and constantly getting beat up all over again. I don't know about you. So every time there's a new start in life, or every time we're in the middle and we need to get out of a rut, this guide will help you move along and also help you get jump started. So this is my early gift to you. Hopefully you find some enlightening information in this video. And once you're ready to go further, you will find a plethora of useful information in this guide. I can't wait to hear what you all have to say in the comments. I can't wait to hear the success stories. I am excited just thinking about it. I want us all to win. We all need to win. It's lonely at the top, ain't it? Don't forget, if you want to get the guide, it's down in the description below, or it's in the link of all of my social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok, and maybe even Twitter. Maybe I'll put it on Pinterest too. I'm Luminous Raw on Pinterest as well. Don't forget to click the like button if you're still here. support, definitely subscribe, share it to those that may need it, and I will definitely see you next week. Mwah. Bye, y'all.